Aloha, beautiful souls, and welcome to Transform with Rian. And in today's Pick a Card Timeless reading, we're going to explore the question: what does your higher self have to share with you about your future spouse? Okay, so let's see what your higher self has to say on this topic of your future spouse, and what information can your higher self share with us about your future spouse. So we have 3 cards here from a brand new deck that I got just the other day at this cute little store. It's called Find Your Light Inspiration Deck. And so we have 3 options. The first, I am Crown of Creation. The second, I feel brave. And then the third option, I am gifted. So go ahead and take a deep breath in and out and exhale gently. And whenever you feel ready, whenever you feel grounded, go ahead and pick one of these cards to determine what reading is for you. Timestamps are down below. I will see you there. Hello, card number 1, reading number 1. Welcome to your reading. You have chosen I am Crown of Creation. So let's see what your higher self has to share with us about your future spouse. So first thing that I'm picking up here is a very strong spiritual energy. So I'm getting the sense that you and or your future spouse are both very spiritual beings. I get the sense that, again, either of you or both of you, take it how it resonates, are individuals that have really spent a lot of this lifetime growing spiritually, understanding life, understanding your reality and how you can shape and mold your reality. I'm sensing that there could even be some leadership potential with you or your future spouse. Maybe you or your future spouse are like a witch, a shaman, a light worker, a healer, starseed, yoga instructor, a spiritual guide, a pastor, something along those lines. Someone that has wisdom to share with others on their life journey as their soul is progressing. I'm also sensing here that you and your future spouse have definitely shared many lifetimes together. The bond between your spirits is very, very strong. And I feel like you and your future spouse will realize this. If you haven't met this person yet, it's something that you both will sense upon that initial meeting. And I feel that you and your future spouse too are going to create something very wonderful together. And if a family is something you both desire, then this creation could definitely be children, and a home, right? But I'm also sensing for many of you too that it goes perhaps even beyond that. And it could even be that you and your future spouse will run a business together, or maybe I know of some people who one person kind of is the focus or the face of a YouTube channel, and then the other partner does a lot of the editing, the posting, like the sort of the behind the scenes sort of work. And so it could even be something to that effect, but I'm definitely sensing some type of teamwork, and the two of you creating something that is unique to the both of you, right? Like you have your own interests and hobbies, they have their own interests and hobbies, but you also come together and have this shared space that you both work within. So very, very beautiful. And I sense, again, very powerful spirits here. So it would seem to me that both of you are very knowledgeable when it comes to law of attraction, manifesting, and really using your own divine power to help create the life and the type of circumstances that you would like. So very, very powerful, very beautiful energy coming through already from the beginning. Let's get some cards here from this deck and see what else your higher self would like to share with you now about your future spouse. Feeling this card, and then this one underneath here as well. Okay, so we have lessons, knowledge, understanding. Look for the reason in this situation. Definitely. So I feel that, again, you and your future spouse have gone through some pretty significant challenges in life, and part of both of your soul's journey is to share what you've learned to help others who may have, similar experiences, right? I'm sensing that either or both of you are meant to be guides to other people in this lifetime to help lead them to on their journey, to help in their process of healing and evolving and growing and becoming like more powerful versions of themselves. So you're meant to help people. You and your future spouse are meant to help people. Now we have winter here, feeling out in the cold. Your answers arrive in winter. So there's two layers to this that I'm sensing for sure. One is the winter could be a very significant time period for you and your future spouse. Could be when you meet, anniversary, maybe your birthday is during the winter months. So, depending on kind of which hemisphere you're in, will dictate what months those are. So I'm in the southern hemisphere, so the winter months are June, July, August. But in the northern hemisphere, it's December, January, February, okay? So look at the sun signs for those different months, and it could definitely reflect you and your future spouse. Well, I'm actually hearing sun, moon, rising, so any one of those three. And this out in the cold, this is what I was speaking about earlier with how the two of you have perhaps gone through your own life struggles and some very difficult lessons that you both have had to learn. And you've come out stronger and wiser from those lessons. And it's part of your life purpose to share what those lessons are and those learnings with other people who are going through similar situations, okay? And I'm seeing this home as well. You and your future spouse are going to have a beautiful home. The energy feels very harmonious. It seems like perhaps the two of you have similar tastes when it comes to interior design, what type of house you want to have, where you want it to be, those types of things. It seems like you both will sort of be on the same page when it comes to those. And you also have masculine, your divine masculine, your twin or soulmate seeking you. So this, again, reinforces what I mentioned earlier, where you and your future spouse have a very deep bond. It's like literal soul mates, like it says right here. You've gone through many lifetimes together. I'm sensing in this lifetime, your future spouse carries more of that divine masculine energy. Now, remember that all of us have divine masculine and divine feminine within us. It's just that some either of those energies may be a little bit more dominant, or we might be a little bit more comfortable with expressing the divine feminine within us or the divine masculine within us than the opposite. So this doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the sex or even gender of your partner. It has more to do with their energy. So with the masculine energy, your future spouse is much more of a doer. They're comfortable with taking action. They're comfortable making decisions. They're comfortable sort of being the protector and the provider. And I'm also hearing too, it's most likely that your future spouse would be the type of person that would make the first move when it comes to someone that they are romantically interested in. Okay, let's pull some tarot now and see what else your higher self wants to share with us about your future spouse, okay? Okay, Spirit is like two more. Okay. There we go, okay. So let's do this and see which tarot cards we have. So we have King of Swords. So definitely could be some strong air sign with your future spouse. When we're looking at the winter months, so the air sign, we have Aquarius for the winter months in the northern hemisphere, and then we have Gemini energy for the southern hemisphere. So that could be part of it. And again, King of Swords, so that divine masculine energy. I'm also hearing that your future spouse is quite intelligent, a bit book smart. Definitely, they like to think more rationally, okay? Even though, again, both of you are very spiritual, I'm seeing here that your future spouse does have this element of what's logical, what's maybe scientific and practical, right? And that's how they tend to look at things. We also have the Nine of Wands, Queen of Cups, the Hanged Man, the Universe, okay, and the Page of Cups. Oh, so we're running a little bit out of room here. Let me make some room so we can see all of these together. And Page of Cups. Okay, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So we have the Queen of Cups and the Page of Cups. I feel like I'd like those two to be together here. So for me, what this speaks about is this emotional maturity that your future spouse has. You know, maybe in their younger days, they were someone who let their emotions kind of get the better of them, okay? Maybe when they got angry, they lashed out. Maybe when they were deeply sad, they tended to become very reclusive, you know, very shut down. And they would kind of like lose themselves in sadness. And over time, they become very emotionally mature, and they can kind of identify maybe some of their emotional patterns, emotional triggers, and handle them in a way that it doesn't create any unnecessary discord or disharmony or problems in their life. So I do sense this emotional maturity with them, and I'm seeing the letters EQ, like an emotional quotient. You know, you have IQ for intelligent quotient, so how like book smart maybe someone would be, and then EQ is that emotional quotient. So how intelligent people are with awareness of their own emotions and other people's emotions, and how to interact with others, so that again there isn't as much conflict. So I'm definitely feeling here this strong empathic energy coming through from your future spouse. And additionally, with this crown of creation, I'm very, again, this spiritual energy is very strong. So very, very intuitive, the both of you. I'm looking at the two major arcana cards here. We have the Hanged Man and the Universe. So I'm seeing that your future spouse kind of has a different way of looking at the world. It's not very mainstream. It's not like popular opinion. And I would say this is born out of their life experiences, where they're not the type to fall into a lot of common prejudices or ways of thinking. And they think outside of the box, you know? They're not that type of person that will take information or opinions and regurgitate them out to others, right? Your future spouse, again, looking at this King of Swords, this emotional maturity energy, your future spouse is that type of person that is very observant and listens to other people's opinions and thoughts, of course, and listens to all types of information coming from different sources, but they will always form their own opinion. They will always synthesize that information and come to their own conclusions. And at times it may not be something that maybe a lot of people are comfortable hearing or that people will understand or agree with. But your future spouse, I get, is not someone who's afraid of sort of going against the grain, right? Going against sort of the crowd. I sense for your future spouse, their energy is more of like, doing what's right in this case. Doing what's right in this situation. What is the most kind, compassionate, and caring thing that needs to be done here, even if it might not be the thing that most people would do, okay? So with the universe too, it's this sort of like worldly view of life. It's not this sort of small town, restricted, um, close-minded sort of opinions. You know, your future spouse is very open-minded and um, like kind of thinks on this global level, right? Um, and I'm hearing too, it's this understanding of different cultures, you know, where um, the way that your future spouse was raised in a certain cultural context, they don't necessarily impose those cultural beliefs, habits, mannerisms on other people. They kind of look at that person, their situation, and adapt their responses to fit them, you know, which I think is beautiful. Um, Now, we didn't talk yet about this Nine of Wands. Um, I'm seeing that, you know, it could be that your future spouse, maybe you as well, have had some difficult things happen in the past. And for a while, and it could be this play as well between the Page of Cups and the Nine of Wands. For a while, your future spouse could have been that type of person that operated like they had a chip on their shoulder, right? Like they were maybe very angry with the world because of some difficulties they faced in their youth. And they reach this point again in their growth and their journey where it's like, okay, you know, I need to allow myself to let go of the past and allow the pain and the trauma of the past to be healed. Okay, I don't need to carry this burden anymore. And that's this glowing stick, okay? It's like they've mastered their past and their histories. They are masters of their emotions. And they have kind of transcended beyond the trauma and the pain into a better, healthier space now. And they're practically glowing. So yes, with this glowing energy, I definitely feel that your future spouse has this light within them that you will definitely recognize, but I think other people will recognize as well, which is totally fitting because going back to the first part of the reading, you and your future spouse are a light to kind of give hope to people's lives, to share again how they can overcome their struggles, in with sharing your tips and tricks on how to do that, you know? So, wow, I sense this huge sort of life purpose mission for you and your future spouse, and it's really amazing. I'm wishing you both the best when it comes to fulfilling that life purpose. Let me know what you thought about your reading in the comments down below. What resonated with you the most? And are you ready to meet your future spouse? If you haven't already, claim them. And of course, if you enjoyed anything of your reading, hit that like button and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss out on future readings. Until next time, thank you for letting me do this reading for you, loves. Have a great day. Bye. Hello there, group 2, reading 2. You were drawn to this card with the mermaid. I feel brave. And let's find out more about your future spouse with the information your higher self has to share with you about them, all right? So with this card here, what I'm really sensing about your future spouse is this is someone that is very outspoken. This is someone who is not easily intimidated by other people. I'm seeing here with this mermaid that's carrying these shells with like looks like maybe some seaweed and some other aquatic plant life, that they are that type of person that is always willing to help other people, okay? Even people who might seem a little bit scary or intimidating at first. It's kind of like what I'm seeing is people who are like homeless. I know growing up for me, I'm not saying this is true for everyone, but maybe you can relate or you can understand. Like for me, I used to have this fear of like homeless people because I don't necessarily think this was my parents that did this. I think this was more like maybe social conditioning, that homeless people are scary people. Like they might steal your, you know, money or your bags. Even though thankfully that's never happened to me before, but that's kind of what I thought, you know, that people who lived on the streets are like pickpockets and thieves and criminals. And It also makes me think of that movie Home Alone 2. I don't know if any of you have ever watched that. That definitely is aging me, right? But Home Alone 2 Lost in New York, where the main character ends up on a plane to New York City, and he goes through Central Park and comes across this like pigeon lady who's really kind of scary looking, right? And she has like a frown on her face. She looks kind of like mean and grumpy. But then he comes to find out that she's actually a very sweet and kind person. So, circling back around to what I was talking about to begin with, I feel like your future spouse is someone that's not intimidated by someone's look and appearance, and especially if they look like they're like mean or grumpy or crabby. Like your future spouse has such an open heart and an open spirit that they are not afraid to approach anybody. And I'm seeing here with this sort of smile and this heart on the forehead of this mermaid that a lot of people tend to maybe melt in the presence of your future spouse. Like their heart melts. Where it's like maybe they are on guard, maybe they are feeling grouchy or whatever. But when your future spouse approaches them, it's kind of like their smile puts them at ease. And their smile, like, totally demolishes any walls that they have put up. And they tend to soften up in the presence of your future spouse. That's just that energy that they carry with them. I'm also seeing with the butterflies that a lot of people are actually transformed by your future spouse, by their interactions they have with your future spouse. You know, it's on a very simple level, kind of going back to what we're talking about. If someone was having a bad day and they look grumpy and they look totally unapproachable, you know what look I'm talking about. Let me know, right? You know what look. A smile from your future spouse really can shift their day, can transform their day, and they probably won't be as grumpy as they were earlier before they ran into your future spouse, okay? So I really feel that lovely energy coming through about them. Let's grab some cards from this deck to get some more information from your higher self about your future spouse. Spirit is telling me just two from this deck. Okay, we'll listen. So you have rise above, drama, obstacles, pettiness, find the strength to rise. Feminine, your divine feminine, you seeking her twin or soulmate. Okay, beautiful. I love how the readings are so different from each other. It like makes my day. So with this, with the divine feminine, your future spouse, their energy is definitely a lot softer than most people. It's very welcoming, it's very warm. And in fact, you know, most people want to kind of like agree with their future spouse, have their back. Like your future spouse doesn't really inspire a lot of contradiction or defiance even in other people. Like your future spouse is that type of person where people want to be around them. People want your future spouse to like them. You know, it's that kind of energy. Like they're not that. Your future spouse has this vibe where no one would want to cross them or go against them. And it's not because your future spouse is intimidating. Like, no, it's because your future spouse is so lovely. It's kind of like, how could you not like this person, you know? Oh my God, it's making me think of that Justin Bieber song, Love Yourself. That's that line, my mama don't like you and she likes everyone, right? And so it's that kind of vibe where it's like, if whoever doesn't like your future spouse, it's like something's wrong with them, not the other way around. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, they just have this very soft energy that's very non-threatening, but instead more warm and welcoming about them. And a lot of people are sort of lulled into complacency and calmed by their presence, you know? So rise above, drama, obstacles, pettiness, find the strength to rise. So I feel like your future spouse is definitely that type of person that tends to take the high road always, okay? They're that type of person that always gives people the benefit of the doubt, and likes to believe in the best and the good in other people. They're not easily dragged down by challenging or difficult experiences or like mean people. They're not that type of person that, wow, okay, get this, y'all. This is so powerful. I'm like, feel so happy to be able to share this about your future spouse. But they're not that type of person that when someone is negative to them, they become negative in turn, right? Your future spouse is this light that puts a halt to that dark, lower vibrational energy. You know how some people, and I can be guilty of this at times too, although I'm so much more aware of this than I was in my youth. But like if someone like yells at me, then I get upset and angry and I yell back at them and I storm off and I like perhaps yell at someone else who crosses my path, even if they had nothing to do with what just happened, right? I'm sure you've experienced that as well. I think we all have. But with your future spouse, like they put a stop to the spread of this negative energy. So it's almost like, oh my God, I love this. I love this. I'm seeing this vision of your future spouse in their youth where like a lot of the other kids or maybe other coworkers or something are talking bad about another student, another coworker, or they're bullying them or teasing them, whatever. Your future spouse is the one that will say, guys, that's enough. That's not nice. Leave them alone, right? And everyone else is sort of like ashamed for their behavior because their future spouse kind of called them out on it again. And your future spouse is not like confrontational or yelling. It's just sort of this this authority within their voice where they're literally just like, that's enough, everyone. Leave them alone. That's not very nice to be teasing them in that way. Like they can talk in that tone and everyone is immediately cowed and like bows their heads in like shame for their actions. Your future spouse kind of has that power. I really sense that they really are a being of like light and love. And I'm like astounded by it. That's so cool. So they're not petty in any way. They don't tolerate drama. They put an end to all of that. So awesome. Okay, let's see what the tarot has to communicate with us from your higher self as well about your future spouse here. Oh, I am loving these readings, y'all. Your future spouses sound so wonderful. Okay, Spirit is like one from the top of that section and one from the bottom. Alrighty. Okay, let's see what we have. So, the 10 of Swords, Ace of Wands, Two, the High Priestess, the 9 of Swords. Oh, interesting. Okay, so we have a little bit of a progression here with this suit. So we'll put those two cards next to each other. And we have the King of Pentacles, lovely, and Temperance. Okay, I'm going to put Temperance next to this Major Arcana card, and we'll put the King of Pentacles right there. So definitely right off the bat, what I'm seeing here is the King of Pentacles energy is someone that's very calm, calm and collected. Cool, calm, collected. There you go. That's the phrase that I'm getting. Someone who's very stable, grounded. I'm seeing here your future spouse is not someone who is like easily riled up, is not someone where you can like get under their skin. They are so calm. They are so placid in a way where it's like, you know, again, they rise above. It's kind of like they're almost immune to whatever chaotic energy or emotions may arise around them. It's really astounding because I've seen people like totally not be very grounded and kind of become a sponge and absorb the emotional energies around them. But your future spouse is so like untouchable in that way. And they're really like a source of strength. Like when I think of King of Pentacles, I think of this very strong, grounded energy, very tough, like the earth itself, okay? Because Pentacles energy is that earth energy. Now, for some of you, if this resonates, your future spouse definitely could have an earth sign with sun, moon, and or rising. So the earth signs would be Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, okay? So take that if that resonates. I'm seeing here with the 9 and 10 of swords that your future spouse is above this anxiety and fear, is above this sort of martyrdom and self-sacrificing. Like, even though your future spouse stands up for other people, like, your future spouse isn't someone who is necessarily easily taken advantage of. Okay, like, your future spouse is very smart, and very skilled at reading other people and reading the situation. So they're not gonna easily be tricked and like stabbed in the back. And again, they don't fall into this state of anxiety or worry. They don't tend to ruminate on things. Again, super duper calm person your future spouse is. It's like they're that type of person that you would want in a crisis or in an emergency, right? Because they're the one that can stay level-headed and not sort of like freak out like everyone else might. With the Ace of Wands, I'm sensing here that it's kind of cute that there's still this like childlike energy within your future spouse. It's almost like the world didn't scar them, you know, like it's not that they didn't have tough things happen in their life. It's not that at all, because we all have our struggles, right? But it's like they never lost that childlike wonder. And I'm getting the sense too that they tend to be, again, a little bit more optimistic, and they tend to be that person that looks on the bright side of things. They're that type of person who, like, the glass is half full, you know, instead of half empty. So very optimistic kind of energy. The High Priestess, I feel like this card is just confirming that sort of almost intuitiveness that your future spouse has about other people, right? Again, they're not someone that's going to be tricked or duped or easily taken advantage of by other people at all, because they can sense other people's true characters and their quality. The Temperance, I feel like, is just reinforcing that your future spouse is a very balanced person, very grounded, okay? That they acknowledge emotions, they acknowledge the soul's calling, they acknowledge facts and information and data, and they kind of put that together and maintain their calm. It's not like one tends to win out over the other and create like discord. They all work together to create a sort of like peaceful existence for them. And you know, they're that type of person that tends to kind of stay in the middle ground, you know, like they don't go to either ends of the extreme. They're not that type of person at all. Like, they're very responsible with their money, but they know how and when to like treat themselves and splurge. They're that type of person that's you know, they aren't quick to yell at other people and like have these angry outbursts, but again, they're not that type of person to take other people's crap, and you know, they're going to put a stop to it when people are kind of pushing a little bit too far. So very lovely energy your future spouse has, and I feel this calmness as I share this information from your higher self about them. So lovely. I hope you thought your future spouse sounded really cool too. Let me know what you liked most about them in the comments down below, and definitely hit that like button to claim this reading and call your future spouse into your life if you haven't met them already. And if they are in your life, like, hit that like button to let the universe know that you are receiving this wonderful person into your life. And before you go, don't forget to subscribe. I would really appreciate that, so you don't miss out on any future readings that I post. And with that being said, thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you next time. Bye. Hello there, Group 3, Reading 3. Welcome to your pick a card reading to find out what your higher self has to share with us about your future spouse. So we have this card here, I Am Gifted, with this very colorful fairy right here. And what I'm sensing about your future spouse here is that they are very talented. They have some type of skill that really works out well for them, that really helps them in their life. I'm hearing especially with career, for example. So it could be that your future spouse is very gifted at math or the sciences. Maybe they're also very gifted in the arts, right? With music, painting, sculptures. So they have this talent that they are very well known for, okay? And it's something that continues to bless them within their life in many, many different ways. And I feel like what I'm hearing too is this could be even be how you two meet. Like maybe, for example, if they're an artist, maybe you go hear them play at a bar or at a concert or something like that, and you have a chance to talk to them and you kind of hit it off. Or it could be that, they're at like a coffee shop playing music, and it really kind of speaks to you, and it draws your attention. Or maybe there's someone again who's very knowledgeable on a topic, and you go to one of their lectures, take one of their classes, and you really appreciate the wisdom that they have, and that's one of the things that you find very attractive about them. But with all these butterflies kind of surrounding this fairy right here, I definitely sense that your future spouse's gift again is very magnetic. It tends to attract a lot of people, which would explain why they have success when they really step into and use their gifts and their talents. So let's see what else your higher self has to share with us about your future spouse. Ooh, that card spun a couple times. That was interesting. Okay, so I'm feeling 4 cards from this deck. So fun when I do these readings, and Spirit guides me to kind of do different things with each reading. So we have Fall and Ascend. Okay, interesting. And here we have Vibration and Settling. Okay, so let's look at this Fall and Ascend. So it could be in this case that fall is a significant time of the year for either you or your future spouse. Could maybe be a reference to sun sign, moon sign, rising sign, that type of thing. So, again, kind of depending on which part of the world you're on, southern or northern hemisphere. The northern hemisphere, the months for the fall are typically September, October, November. So we're looking at Virgo, Libra, and Scorpio primarily is what I would say for those signs. But if you're in the southern hemisphere, then the fall would be more March, April, and May. I'm sorry, I don't know why it took me so long to say those months in order. March, April, May. So those signs we're looking at: Aries, Taurus, and Gemini. Okay? Yeah, okay. I had to double check myself. So it could be that you or your future spouse, sun, moon, rising, is in those signs, depending on where you are on the planet. And we have Ascend, expansion, evolution, universal intelligence, stay connected to spirit. So I'm actually really feeling more so that this might be your future spouse's energy, and this is actually yours, okay? So it could be that your future spouse would be one of those signs, okay, or have placements in one of those signs I mentioned earlier. But with this Ascend thing, I'm really feeling like this is speaking again to your future spouse's gift, where, again, their talent and their gifts almost make them seem a little bit otherworldly. Okay, it's like they're just so talented at this thing. You're like, it really blows other people's minds. It's like they've ascended what the average person would be like in that field. Okay, think I'm feeling like superstar energy. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, there's a bunch of musicians in the world and they all are talented, right? But some musicians, they tend to blow up big, I don't know, Beyonce, and Taylor Swift, and Dave Matthews Band, and Andrea Bocelli. You know what I'm saying? Some people, they just kind of they have that star power, right? And then and even when it comes to like the sciences and technology, like some people just kind of rise above in those fields, you know. Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, like regardless of how you feel about them, right? It's just like they really know how to maximize their potential um, and create their ideas into something very tangible, very meaningful. Okay, so again, super talented. You know, if we're thinking like grades, if people are hovering around a C, like your person is like A plus plus. You know what I'm saying when it comes to this kind of stuff. Now, what's so interesting, this didn't come through, this kind of energy, in the other readings, but what I'm seeing here is if you haven't met your future spouse already, you are going to meet them when you're in this vibration of like settling down. I'm feeling like maybe you, out of all three of the piles, like your spirit is probably a little bit more independent than the other two groups that I read for. Perhaps you are a little bit more free spirited, right? A little bit more of an adventurer. Maybe for you, it could be that being in a relationship wasn't truly your priority for your life up until the point when you're ready to settle down, okay, with someone special and form that meaningful bond. Um, Let me know if that resonates with you in the comments down below, okay? But I feel like when you're in that vibration, you know, it's all about vibrations and attracting things that are meant for us. So when we match vibrationally and energetically with certain people, then we will draw them in, right? So it could be future spouse, it could be a best friend, could be like an employer. When we are that vibrational match, then it's easier for the two people, the two energies, the two things to come together, right? So I really feel like this is what this is speaking to. And I'm hearing now that perhaps some of you that were drawn to this pile 3 here, it could be that maybe you didn't feel as lucky in love. It could even be that maybe you had a very difficult experience in love and had some really big heartbreak or heartache in past love matters. Maybe, you know, the people you were in love with didn't really appreciate you or treat you well in the past, and that could be why you were kind of maybe put off with this idea of future spouse or like being in, you know, a long-term committed relationship with somebody. And it's when you can let those past pains go and kind of believe once again that if you so desire a romantic partner to be with you throughout life, then they will find their way to you. Then like the stars will align, if you know what I mean, for you to become united in the physical realm. And for some of you, it could even be also with this settling, it could be when you feel like you're sort of on cruise control and settled. You know, so many people these days, they're quite ambitious, which is great. Like they have a lot of goals and what they want to achieve in their life, in their career. And I, for one, like I know that feeling because for me, it was my career first, always, for a good part of my life. And love was kind of second place. You know, there was someone that I truly adored and I wanted to be with, but you know, I had to leave and go to school to get my master's degree, and it was in another state on the other side of the country. And, you know, I would, at that time, and even now, even though I care deeply for this person, I chose my career, you know, and I guess in that way, I'm kind of like my dad. Like my dad, his career was his priority because he wanted to provide for his family, even if that meant creating a bit of a distance between my mom and his children. But we all make choices, right? So I feel like maybe when you feel like your career is starting to wind down, settle down, like you've made those big strides and you've accomplished those things that were on the top of your list, could be when you're able to meet this person. Okay? So I'm hearing that, you know, your higher self just wants you, in particular my group 3, to not give up on love. if you want love, like it can be yours. It's not a matter of like, will it or will it not. It's really just a matter of, do you want it or do you not want it? You know, it's kind of what I'm hearing too is like you put so much emphasis on your career and you've achieved so many things. The same thing can be said with love. You know, if you want this, it can be yours. Oh wow, interesting. Spirit says we only need 5. Okay. Again, I love this variety when it comes to the way Spirit guides me to do these readings. We have King of Wands. Okay, beautiful. So definitely a lot of charismatic energy coming through with your future spouse. When we're talking about the fall, so the big energy in the fall that's a fire sign, again, depending on what part of the world you're in, would be Aries. And it's like Leo and Sagittarius are not quite during those fall months, but they kind of on either ends of the fall months, September, October, November, for the Northern Hemisphere. So I'm definitely feeling like maybe more the Aries energy, if that kind of resonates with you. Oh, we have the 3 of Pentacles. Okay, yes. So this is confirming for sure that, you know, your future spouse does get a lot of attention for their gifts. And with this card, I'm sensing that a lot of people want to work with them and collaborate with them. So like a lot of people maybe want to be an internship with them, train with them, learn from them. It could even be that they see your future spouse as like a mentor or a guide or a guru, a teacher. If they're a musician, it could even be like they want to collabo, right? It's like, hey, let's write a song together. Let's create a track together. So there's a lot of people that want to collaborate and work with them. You know, I'm also seeing these images of like brands wanting to partner with your future spouse. You know, with this day and age of like social media influencers, we have a lot of people who get free gifts to promote a product on their Instagram or on their TikTok or on their YouTube channel. You know what I'm saying? So I feel that energy is very strong with your future spouse, that there are people who want to work and collaborate with them. We have the 4 of Swords. I see that your future spouse, they are very talented, they are very gifted. And one thing that perhaps might be a little bit different from you, because I get the sense here you're very hardworking, and you can probably, you know, outlast a lot of people when it comes to doing work or physical activity, that kind of thing. Maybe you're like a generator. Like that's I was studying human design for a little bit and learning more about human design through my chart. And like a generator is that type of person where they have a lot of energy to get things done. They're like worker bees, workhorses, that kind of energy. In contrast to the other types, which is manifestor, reflector, and projector, where they don't produce their own energy, and so they need a lot more rest time. So I feel like your future spouse is like that. Like they can accomplish really wondrous things with their talents, but they also prioritize their rest, and they know when to kind of wind down, when to take a break, and how long they need to take a break too. Which I think is very rare, you know? I think most people, at least in the Western culture and society, is like hustle, 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 get into the grind, don't stop, keep moving, right? That kind of energy. But it seems like your future spouse like really understands this sort of balance between doing and just being. We also have Hanged Man. Yeah, so we have the 4 of Swords and the Hanged Man kind of coming together in this sort of motionless energy. So we have King of Wands also just sitting on the throne, right? So it seems what I'm hearing is this emphasis on like effortlessness from your future spouse because they're just so talented and gifted. Again, it's not that they don't put in the work or the time. It's just things are a little bit easier for them when it comes to their area of talent and area of expertise. You know, maybe other things they're not so good at, right? Like, I don't know, maybe they're a great musician, but they're terrible at like math. I don't know, right? So they really know how to utilize their strengths. That's, I think, maybe the really best way to put that and kind of understand them is they know how to utilize their strengths and they know what they're not good at, and in which case they need to get someone to help them with those things. Now, part of the genius of your future spouse, their gift, is again, they see things so differently. They're very unique in their thinking. I'm getting the sense too that they think outside the box quite often. That's how they can be so creative in a lot of their approaches when it comes to their field that they work in. And lastly, we have the Knight of Swords. So with this, I'm getting the sense that your future spouse does get struck by inspiration and really flows with it, okay? It's like when they are inspired by something, their mind moves so fast. It's like hard to keep up, and there's really no point in keeping up with them. It's kind of like, I'm seeing those sort of mad scientists kind of images where they have like this eureka moment. They're like, oh, I know what I was missing. And then they like go and like mix chemicals, jot things down in their like scientific journal and like, do all these equations on the chalkboard and like they really get revved up, when these powerful moments of inspiration hit them. And it's like really kind of wild to see them work, like when they're in the zone, when they're in their element. So I'm curious to how you will respond to when you meet them and when you see them kind of in their creative fervor. You know what I'm saying? Wow, so amazing, so amazing. I know I would love to kind of see someone so immersed and absorbed in their task and expression, that might be really, really amazing to see. In any case, I hope you really enjoyed your reading here from your higher self, explaining a little bit more about your future spouse. Let me know in the comments what resonated with you the most, what you liked most about this person that's entering your life. And of course, if you liked anything about your reading, give that thumbs up button a click and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss out on future readings when I post them. All right, loves? It was a pleasure to read for you today. Wishing you all the best. Take care, and I'll see you soon.